Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Frankie from Flatbush coming at you as the Underwear Olympics is going on, ladies and gentlemen. It's Saturday, 1 p.m. Why are we on the air? This isn't Coffee with Frankie. Audio check, audio check. Folks in the chat, let me know if you can hear me okay. Before we go any further, okay, Phil Adams, 100%. We got the scouting combine going on right now. We got the Underwear Olympics going on right now. But probably the most exciting news of the past few days, you might have seen it. Steak and Shake is going with 100% beef tallow French fries. This is a change. No preservatives, no artificial garbage. They're going beef tallow. And if we can manage to get $25 in super chats, I will order live on the air some of said fries and then eat them and let you know, how do these French fries taste? They're cooking them in beef tallow. Can you believe this? Most people don't even know what beef tallow is. And now we're going to have French fries with coming from beef tallow and all of this. But how do they taste? I mean, that's really the only thing you want to know. I mean, it's nice to have healthy fries, but if they taste like garbage, what's the point? So we'll do a little contest, I guess. If we can get up to 25 bucks in super chats, then I'll order them, I'll eat them, I'll let you know how they taste. But in addition to that, we got the combine. We got people running. We got people jumping right now. They're showing Ashton Janty from Boise State 5'8.5". That's short, but 211 pounds. And he's thought of as a top 10 pick. Omarion Hampton, 5'11 3/4. That's more of a standard size running back. 221 pounds, though. Kind of beefy. And he's also thought to be maybe first, second round type running back. So we'll follow along on these combine people. We'll talk about the news of the day and anything else that you guys want to talk about there in the chat. Phil Adams is here from jolly old England. And as you can see behind me, I got the Jets Jack flag up there and also have the one of the other Tottenham Hotspur Stadium flags that Phil Adams sent over. So thanks to Phil. That way we could have some things in the background to make it, look nice around here. So we'll have to see. And so we'll just take Q&A. We'll see what the chat wants to do, what you guys in the chat want to talk about, if anything. And if you want to donate some money, if we get up to 25 bucks, we'll taste some beef tallow fries. Never had beef tallow fries. You might want to take a look at those. So we'll have to see about that. But it is March 1st. It's the first day of March 2025, if you can believe that. We're already into March of 2025. And we got a couple of big dates coming up. We got March 4th is a big date, so that's on Tuesday. And that is the date, that's the deadline for signing um, restricted free agents, slapping the tags on, and all of that. So we'll find out about old Sam Darnold by Tuesday. Is he going to be a free agent? Is he not going to be a free agent? What's going on? But we also learned that Matthew Stafford is not going anywhere. Matthew Stafford is going to stay right where he was all along, which is with the LA Ramsicles. And the Ramsicles said, we'll take you back. We're not going to give you 50, but we'll give you a good deal. We don't know what that deal is yet. But that is another quarterback domino because Matthew Stafford staying home. And that means that, for example, Sam Darnold, who was thought of as a good fit maybe for LA, well, he's not going to LA now. So, same thing for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to LA now. So, we'll have to see what happens to those gentlemen. But some of the pieces are starting to fall into place. Some of the dominoes are falling. So, we'll have to see about that. Phil Adams is here. As always, good to see Phil Adams. You know, part of this beef tallow thing is about make America healthy again. And Phil Adams probably doesn't care about making America healthy again. Maha, as they call it. But you could say, let's make England healthy again. And then it would be Miha or Meha. So, I don't know if you have Steak and Shake over in England. Let me know if you got Steak and Shake in England over there, Phil. Steak and Shake. It's a burger joint. And they're going 100% beef tallow. 100% beef tallow, cooking the fries in the beef tallow. But the question is, how do they taste? It's healthier, they say. Okay. But if they taste like crap, what's the point? We're not going to deal with that. And they're showing the crowd at the scouting combine now. Looks like there's a lot of people showing up, just regular old fans. Though then the other side, there's nobody. So maybe half the stadium. I mean, imagine you live in Indianapolis. This is probably one of the big events of the year for you. How many big events are going on in Indianapolis, Indiana, for that matter? But nonetheless, if they got the Steak and Shake over there in England, Phil, then you might be glad to know they're going beef tallow. They're going beef tallow. So you might want to know, hey, how does that taste? And Phil says, no steak and shake, sadly. We do have McDonald's. Well, this is not McDonald's, Phil. We're talking about steak and shake. And you also have to wonder, though, Steak and Shake is making a big deal out of this, right? They're making this announcement. They're saying we're Maha now, make America healthy again. They're using it as a market separator, right? A value prop separator. We're going to cook our fries in beef tallow. It's going to be healthier for you. Come into our restaurants, order our food. They're saying this is a way for us to separate ourselves from the competition. Well, you wonder if some of the other chains are going to do the same. What about McDonald's? What about Burger King? What about some of these other places? Are they going to start cooking in beef tallow? Well, I think a lot depends on how these fries taste. So that's why if we can get enough super chats, uh, you know, we'll give it a shot. Yeah. So people like Todd, look, you know, Steak and Shake will get his support. So if you're going to get a burger, are you going to go into McDonald's? Are you going to go into Burger King? Are you going to go into Culver's? Culver's is very underrated, by the way. But Steak and Shake now says, okay, we're make America healthy again, and we're cooking in beef tallow, just like Robert F. Kennedy is talking about, and all of the Maha moms and all of that, and they're making a big deal out of it. But my question is, how do these French fries taste? We got to check it out. We need to do a taste test. But we're a little short on money this month, just because, as people know, this is a new apartment here that I got. But sometimes when you switch apartments, you got to have an overlap in the time because of the timing of you want to get into the new one. You don't want to you don't want to miss out. So right now we're in the overlap period, so we're paying two rents a month for the next couple of months. So that's not so good. So if we can get $25 worth of super chats, I'll order live on air steak and shake fries and a burger and maybe a shake, and we'll taste them. This thing going to work? The running backs are now running their 40 times. So Ulysses Bentley, we got a Ulysses running the 40. His name's Ulysses Benton. Now they got Jadon Blue from Texas, 5'9", 196. These running backs, I guess it's important for them with these 40 times. Here comes Jadon Blue. He runs a 4.4 very fast. All right, Jadon, that's a good time. 4.4 flat. That's pretty fast. But yeah, so this is exciting times for people who enjoy healthy foods. But you wonder if some of these other chains are going to follow suit. I guess it depends how successful Steak and Shake is with this thing. So we'll see. But you could see other chains, maybe the ones they actually have in England, do the same thing. They're not going to do it for our fish and chips, eh? Not going to do it for the fish and chips. They don't call it French fries in England. They call them chips. Fish. We got our fish and chips. Uh, they're not actually from France. So why do you call them French fries? I don't understand. We call them chips. That's my terrible English accent. Are they running on coconut husks? Yeah. So supposedly this is a new um, uh, field turf. So I put out a video yesterday about this, and in Indianapolis now, this is supposedly a different kind of fill in the playing surface here, including where they're running now. So in theory, these times should be slower than they would be with the old field turf. The old field turf was slit film and rubber and all of this, and very bad for health and safety. Supposedly, this is corn husks, coconut husks, pellets, whatever you got, the organics, and supposedly much better for health and safety, but it slows you down a little bit. So that should be taken into account when comparing against historical time. So if somebody, for example, this year sets a record with these 40 times, then that person's probably super fast because you know the old turf was quote unquote faster. So that's something to keep in mind as we're watching here. These guys still seem to be putting up pretty good times. I don't think it's really slowing too many, too many people down. But also maybe the previous times were probably a little fast. So some of these dudes who were setting records all over the place in the previous years are probably helped a little bit by the turf. And you don't get to play on that kind of turf all the time, although sometimes you do. That slit film turf, that's what the Jets have, the worst kind. Now they got DJ Giddens. Does Giddens have the giddy up? 443 for DJ Giddens, Kansas State. You got a little giddy up for the Giddens, a little giddy up for the Giddens. Now they got Ollie Gordon, 6'1" and 3/8, 226. That's a big running back. 6'1" and 3/8. 0613 in scouting terms. 226 pounder. So at 226 pounds, let's see how fast this Ollie Gordon can run. Long strider looks like 461. So that's not so speedy, but this is a big back. So you wouldn't expect him to run fast. If he ran in the 4.4s at that size, you'd say, "Wow, that's really something." Now O'Marion Hampton probably what running back two in this draft, two or three. 5'11" and 3/4, 221 pounds. So this is a big dude, also kind of rocked up, as you can see in the musculature. O'Marion Hampton. There he goes. This guy looks fast. Pumping those arms. 4.47. So pretty speedy. Pretty speedy for O'Marion Hampton. And this is a fairly big dude. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Hampton looks solid, Phil Adams says. Yes, sir. Here's R.J. Harvey. This is a guy from UCF where I work, and he is an Orlando, Florida legend. R.J. Harvey. He's from Orlando. UCF is in Orlando, and this dude is going to be solid in the pros. I guarantee you. 4.41 for R.J. Harvey. Very good time. That's what you'd expect for R.J. Very quick. This dude is great with the jump cuts. I expect R.J. Harvey to be a very solid pro, probably running back two on some team, and just gives you solid contributions. Can do a little bit of everything. I think he's going to be very solid pro. Now they got Travion Henderson from Ohio State, 5'10" and 1/8, 202 pounds. After this, going to be some dudes I've never heard of. Marquez Hunter, Jordan James, so forth and so on. We'll see how it all plays out on a Saturday afternoon. Travion Henderson. This guy is a pretty solid prospect out of Ohio State. There he goes. Looks pretty quick on the first 10. Let's see. The 4.43. Yep. Pretty speedy for Trayvon Henderson. Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. But some of the news that's coming out of the Jets, really not too much if you think about it. But one news article did come out, I think it was yesterday, saying that there seems to be mutual interest in a re-up with Jamien Sherwood. So this was on Pro Football Rumors. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this is the first we've heard really on from either side on about Jamien Sherwood. And the report was there seems to be mutual interest. So he wants to sign back, and the Jets want to sign him back. So I thought that was good news to see that coming out. Now, you never really know what's going on. You always got to take it with a grain of salt. But there's a report out there now saying there seems to be mutual interest in um, Jamien Sherwood coming back and re-signing with the New York Jets. So I thought that was pretty good news to hear. We'll see if that winds up actually happening. But you know, we'll see. But positive sign, it's better than a report coming out saying, no, Sherwood wants to get the hell out of here. And now they got Ian Rappaport opening. Of course, I have the sound off on the combine, so I don't know what Rappaport is talking about. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the dust up there was this last couple of days between old Jordan Schultz and the rest of the reporting crews, or the rest of the insiders, I guess you could say. Rappaport and Schefter apparently not taking too kindly to Jordan Schultz putting out a report that said Shady Tom Brady was meeting with Matthew Stafford in Montana ski resort or something like that. And uh, that was what Jordan Schultz put out there. And then the other insider said, no, 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 they just ran into each other. So there's a bit of a dust up the last few weeks about what actually happened. Schultz came back and said, well, if you think they just randomly ran into each other, I got a bridge to sell you. And of course, I put out a tweet saying, well, if there's something shady going on in the NFL, you can be sure that Tom Brady's going to be right in the middle of it. Now, turns out it's not very shady because Stafford at that time had permission to talk to other teams. The Rams had given him permission to do so. So it wasn't exactly that shady, but any kind of controversial thing going on, Tom Brady going to be right in the middle of that. So that's just history talking. But now it's all water under the bridge anyway, because Tom Brady was not able to convince Stafford to whatever degree he was recruiting him. Was it a run in? Was it a formal meeting? Was it a recruiting pitch? Tom Brady struck out. So the and now Tom Brady is 0 for 2. He tried to recruit Ben Johnson to come over to the Raiders. Ben Johnson said no, thank you, Mr. Brady. I'm going to go to the Chicago Bears. The Brady as a recruiter not doing too well. Brady as a broadcaster not doing too well. Um, but as a quarterback, still the goat. As an owner of minority owner in sports franchises, I'm sure his portfolio is looking solid. So, but he's not exactly working any kind of magic on behalf of Mark Davis and the Las Vegas Raiders franchise. I'm pretty sure Mark Davis had other things in mind when he brought him on as a minority partner. He thought, okay, I got Tom Brady here. People, all kinds of people are going to want to come here, and nobody so far had one to come there. At least as far as we know, in terms of well, Tom Brady told me to go there, so now I'm going to go there. Uh, you know, Ben Johnson said no, thank you. Matthew Stafford said no, thank you. So boycott Activision is here. Is the combine on TV now? Well, it's on my TV. I don't know if it's on your TV, boycott. Phil Adams says Brady is a law unto himself. I mean, I just don't understand why he's considered the golden boy. I mean, I guess I do. It's probably a longer, it's probably one of these explanations of I could probably do like an hour video, like a 60-minute video. But the problem is that no one would really watch it. Explaining this really all started back in the NBA. It used to be we had a sport called basketball. I don't know if anybody remembers a sport called basketball. We used to have basketball in this country. it was it was really great back in the day. And you had people like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and all these people playing basketball. Patrick Ewing, okay, and all these people. And it was great. It was a great sport. A lot of people enjoyed it. But what happened after a certain era and the lessons taken by the commissioner of said basketball league has led to where we are today, including what's going on with Tom Brady, what's going on with Patrick Mahomes, what's going on with the Chiefs, what's going on all over the place. And, you know, somebody like me could do a 60-minute video explaining all this, but, probably not too many people want to watch it. So, yeah, I mean, certainly. But that's why, one of the functions of the independent media, Bill, is to shame the mainstream media into doing its job. That's part of that's part of what the independent media should be doing. If they really believe in their mission and they're doing it, not just to make money. And so, I put stuff out on X about these things. We do videos. Maybe I'll do a 15-minute video about all this. And you hope to have some kind of an effect. But most of the time, you don't. Most of the time, you don't. Now we got a guy from Rutgers, Manangai 462. Not too quick for Manangai, Rutgers. Um, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Tom Brady gets away with everything. I mean, the guy was on a boat in Miami trying to become the quarterback and the owner at the same time. That didn't work. That didn't work. Ryan Dable. Now, one of the things that's exciting about this combine is the Jet people are actually here. Previous years, Robert Saleh didn't feel the need to show up. We got this. We don't need to meet with these people. We got it. All these other teams are here. But me, Robert Saleh, I don't need to show up. I got workouts to do. I got golfing to get done. I got chess matches to take care of. I got to work on pumping up my muscles. That's important for a head coach of a football team. Meeting with prospects? Why do I got to do that? So that was pretty dumb. But Aaron Glenn and the new regime is here meeting with all these people. And some of the people we're meeting with are pretty interesting. We're meeting with some of the tight end prospects like Gunnar Helm. We're meeting with some of the quarterback prospects like Cam Ward and Kyle McCord. Ward and McCord are two of the names that we've met with. 4.6 for Devin Neal out of Kansas University. Yeah, so this combine is on the NFL Network. NFL Network. Also, you can get it through NFL Plus. NFL Plus. So R.J. Harvey has had the second fastest running back time, 4.41. Interestingly, I think R.J. Harvey. That's probably I'm biased because he's from UCF, but I think R.J. Harvey, and I've watched him a lot, obviously. I think he's going to be super solid. Shifty, speedy. He can catch the ball. I think he's going to be solid. Salman is here. Salman Jets 718. 718 used to be the area code for the exclusive area code for Brooklyn, New York. And now it's got other area codes. Salman says, is Joe Douglas working anywhere? Not that we know of. I haven't seen any news that he joined any front office. So he might be enjoying a little time off, going fishing, a little hunting. You know, get a little fishing done, get a little hunting done. Why not? But we haven't seen any news about Joe Douglas hiring on anywhere else. You would think he might maybe go back with the Eagles, maybe go back with the Ravens, maybe join his good buddy Salah in San Francisco or something like that. But as far as we know, I haven't seen any news reports about Joe Douglas. Anybody in the chat seen any Joe Douglas reports? Let me know. Let us know. I haven't seen any Salman 718, the old exclusive Brooklyn area code. Now they got other numbers in there. There's too many people. And JD working as Saleh. Now Saleh did get hired, of course, and he not only did he get hired, he's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league, I believe. If not number one, then right up there. So San Francisco, old Kyle said, "We're paying this guy buku bucks because I need him. I got to have somebody to offset my prickly personality." Don't need a GM. Didn't he buy a house in Baltimore? I don't know. I didn't see any news report about Joe Douglas's real estate holdings. Of course, he might still have one. He might have his old house. Who knows if he sold his old one from when he was working in Baltimore all those years ago. So who knows about Joe Douglas? We wish him well. He's going to he'll probably, I would think Joe Douglas will eventually get a second shot at it. If not, then I think, he'll be in the AGM somewhere at some point, director of personnel, something like that. And I think he'll be fine. I think he's still well regarded in the league, and he'll be just fine. He'll be just fine. So far, we've seen the running backs run, and R.J. Harvey had the second fastest time. That's going to help him, I think. He's a guy not too many people are talking about. A little bit of a hidden gem, but maybe more people will start talking about old R.J. Harvey in this running back class. I think he's going to be pretty good. But I am biased. But I did watch him a lot, and I think he has a lot of traits you like coming out of that running back position. And so we'll have to see. Now, we're still doing running backs. Bay Shul Tootin. Let's look at this guy. 4.38. Ooh, that's speedy. This guy's a speedster. That might be the best time of them all. Bay Shul Tootin out of Virginia Tech, 4.38. Marcus Yarns. I don't even know what team this is. 4.45. Pretty speedy. They got the logo on there. I don't even know what team that is. Here's Ulysses Bentley, Ole Miss, 4.64. So, yeah. Jadon Blue, speedy guy, 4.40. He ran the first time. Let's see what he runs this time. 4.39. So gets under the 4.4. For Bayshul Tootin, Rootin' Tootin' Computin', Rootin' Tootin' Rasputin, Rootin' Rasputin. We believe trading down is the right move. As always, it depends. Depends on what the trade is. Down, trade up, trade sideways. So now we got Tootin. That was the fastest time. Then Jadon Blue. Now R.J. Harvey's down to third, 4.41. Bunch of 4.4s. Well, these guys are all grouped up together. Here's Taj Brooks from Texas Tech. That's in Northwest Texas. Taj Brooks, 4.55. So he's not going to be up at the top of the board. Taj Brooks from Texas Tech. Rootin' Tootin' Rasputin. Yeah, we got a guy named Tootin'. There's a lot of good nicknames you could give him. Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. He a Michigan man. Rootin' Tootin' Rasputin. Donovan Edwards ran a 4.45 out of Michigan. Now this is a long strider. He got long strides. And he ran a 4.45 again. So he did not improve upon his first attempt. Looked like he stumbled a little bit coming out of the blocks. Old Donovan Edwards. Old Donovan Edwards. So Boycott says if we trade back, we got to consider Tyler Warren. Yeah, I think we got to consider Tyler Warren no matter what. He's definitely in the basket of guys that are being considered for sure. Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. This is the brother of the other Etienne. Runs a 4.43. Same as the first time. 4.43 for Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. Yeah, Tyler Warren is definitely in consideration. He's in the bucket of guys that we're considering at 7, or if we trade back, or trade. Well, we're not going to trade up for, for Tyler Warren, but if we stay where we are or trade back, Tyler Warren certainly is going to be in consideration for us in the first round. Absolutely. DJ Giddens, Giddy Up Giddens. What about Giddy Up Giddens? Does Giddens have any giddy? I'm 4.43 is pretty speedy. Let's see if he can do better than 4.43 for Giddy Up Giddens. Let's go, buddy. Giddens. Get up and get it. Oh no, he does not improve upon it. 4.45. So less giddy up on that one for Giddens. No, I don't think Warren is running the 40. I don't think he's working out at all. As far as I remember, unless I'm mistaken, let me know in the chat if I'm mistaken. I don't think Tyler Warren's doing any workouts, if I remember correctly. There's a bunch of dudes not working out at all. I think Tyler Warren's one of those. If you're one of these kids who, if you do the testing at the combine, all it could do is, drop you down, let's say, if you're that high up, no reason to do it. Wally Gordon looks like he's running with a limp or something. Wally Gordon, he's a big dude. So he ran a 4.61 and then a 4.62. Here's Omarion Hampton. He's very highly regarded. Ran a 4.47 the first time. Harvey's running next. Of course, I'm keeping my eye on RJ Harvey. I'll be rooting for all the UCF guys. And we'll see if Harvey can improve on his 4.41 time. Hampton, if he improves on 4.47, that'll be very impressive, of course. This is relatively large running back, stature-wise. And he does improve slightly to 4.46. So nicely done for Mr. Hampton. They're comparing him to guess who? Brees Hall. Interesting. And Hall ran a 4.39 40, lest we forget about Brees. The boycott says speed is my biggest question with him. Yeah, well, speed's not really his game, so. There's RJ Harvey, 4.41. Nope, he does not improve upon it. He runs a 4.43. Still pretty respectable for RJ. The Orlando legend. Chip Kelly in attendance, watching his Ohio State running backs and other players. And we got Travion Henderson running now. Ran a 4.43 the first time. And a 4.43 the first time. But we are keeping our eye on all of these underwear Olympics people as we move along here. If we do get $25 worth of super chats, we will be ordering the all beef tallow French fries from Steak and Shake and eating them on air to let you know how they taste. So if you want to see that, super chat away. That is now open and available on this channel as well as the Inner Circle. A couple of people already signed up for the Inner Circle. If you're interested in the Inner Circle, click the join button underneath this video. And for $5 a month, you can get exclusive stuff. Everybody likes exclusive stuff, and you can get yourself some uh, by joining the inner circle. The inner circle of this channel by clicking the join button. And we appreciate the support of the inner circle members. But just as a reminder, those things are now available. Jarquez Hunter runs a 446. So, yeah, so we got all that going on. Not too much going on as far as jet news. The only big jet news, it looks like there's mutual interest in signing a contract for Jamien Sherwood and the Jets. That's one report came out and said there's mutual interest on both sides. Re-signing Mr. Sherwood, that would be a nice re-sign, I think, for Mr. Muji and Mr. Glenn as they start to piece together this roster for the next season and the future. Um, so there's that. Then the other thing was that Matthew Stafford was the domino that fell. He stayed in LA, so they do not make a trade, and they have their quarterback for next year. So that is no longer a destination for people like Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, or anybody else. So those are the main items, the main pieces of news, other than Steak and Shake going to all beef tallow French fries in what they're how they're cooking them up. Supposed to be healthier, but the question is, how do they taste? And that's important. After all, a lot of these athletes eat at these places too, and if we have healthier French fries that taste good, I mean, we could see healthier people, and that's always a good thing. So all of the 40-yard dash times, R.J. Harvey clocking in third still, hanging in there. See if anyone can knock him off. Rootin' Tootin' Rasputin went for a 4.38. Uh, Jadon Blue went for a 4.39. Harvey 4.41. Here's Quinshon Judkins, the second running back out of Ohio State. You got two Ohio State running backs in this draft. That's how talented a team they're able to assemble up there in Ohio State. And Judkins runs a 4.51, but he's more of a power back, I think, rather than a quickster. So he's not going to be hurt too much by his 40 times. And now they're having celebrities in the booth at the NFL scouting combine. They got some Hollywood hipster showing up in the booth now. I guess they got nothing else to talk about. There's a lot of, I mean, this is a long event. They're showing the two Ohio State running backs together to show their form. But this is a really long event. I mean, there's a lot of hours going on. All of these workouts and all the things that they do, the running, the jumping, the lifting, the drills. I mean, this is a lot of hours to be looking at these prospects and a lot to be done. Probably the most important thing is the meetings, which is one of the things that was weird about Robert Saleh not showing up. It's like, don't you want to meet with these people? Don't you want to get to know them? It's somewhat confusing as to why he felt like he didn't need to show up at this event. You talk to the kids, you get to know them. Which ones are fit. What you're looking for, which ones do not, and so forth and so on. Yeah, it looked like it was David Spade. I guess he's still around. So yeah, and we could also play some music as we're sitting around trying to figure out what's going on with these prospects. We could play some music tracks. Yeah, if we're interested in that, we could always do that. But there's a lot of time to fill, and not a lot of uh, news items to fill it with. Let's do a check of the news here, shall we? Well, according to a source, there has been no contact or negotiations as of now between the Packers and Seahawks regarding a DK Metcalf trade. Seems like every year Metcalf is rumored to be being traded, but then he never gets traded. Um, doesn't seem to be any real news going on here, as far as I can tell, either. I guess everybody's just kind of just watching the prospects. Got an eye on these old prospects. Man, doesn't seem like there's really much going on in terms of news, which it doesn't seem like maybe DK Metcalf is not getting traded. Justina Anderson had a cryptic tweet about interesting changes in Pittsburgh for the Steelers, but other than a cryptic tweet, we don't know nothing. Rumors, mutual interest in extension for Jets linebacker Jamien Sherwood. So this is the report. Let's take a look at this. Just so people, in case you missed it, uh, mutual interest in extension for Jets LB Jamien Sherwood. Um, it goes through what he did over the years. The analytics were impressed. So this, I guess, comes from Zach Rosenblatt, and that's a pretty good source when it comes to this sort of stuff. Rosenblatt later added he was hearing about interest from both sides in reaching a new deal with the Jets. So this comes from Zach Rosenblatt of the Athletic. So that's pretty, reliable source as far as this goes. It's Rosenblatt. So we can probably get him in. Bottrack has him $7, $8 million. $7, $8 million, something like that. That's what Spot Track is saying. Now they're interviewing Mr. Spade for some reason. Paisan comes in. Frankie, is the person who sings your intro the song the same person that sings Waiting All Day for Sunday Night for Sunday Night Football? Yeah, it's the same exact person, Paisan. I got it like that. This channel has 583 subscribers, and we can get a worldwide superstar singer to do our intro song, Paisan. Yeah, absolutely. I just call her up. I know all these people. I know Taylor Swift. I know all the pop stars. Uh, Eminem. I'll just call Eminem. I'm gonna have Eminem do a song for me next, Paisan. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have ACDC do a song for me. I know them all. They all know Frankie. I am big time like that. It's only a coincidence. It's only a some weird aspect of fate that this channel only has 583 subscribers. Everybody knows that Frankie is super big time. And why this channel only has 583 subscribers, nobody knows. But the fact is that I know every single big time musical artists. The ones who you see them on Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. You see them performing in arenas, football stadiums. They all know me, and they all come to me, and they're asking me whether they can do a theme song for me. They're asking me. I don't even have to ask them. I can just select which one I'd like to pick to do a song for me. They all want to do songs for me, Paisan. Every single one. They all know Frankie. You think Frankie is some schlub with only 583 subscribers? No, that's just a that's just a fake number. Everybody knows who's in the know that Frankie is big time. They all want to do songs for me. Name somebody who's a huge star right now. Olivia Rodriguez or whatever. She wants to do one. Uh, uh, Migos, Quavo, Eminem, uh, K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, he was performing at the Super Bowl, but before he performed at the Super Bowl, he wanted to perform on the Frankie from Flatbush channel because he knows this channel has impact and import. Only the coolest of the cool understand and get with all Frankie. The Frankie material, the Frankie channel, the videos, the live streams. These are the cool people. And you ask any musical artist out there, the biggest ones, they all want to do me a song. They all want to make 5 songs for me, Paisan. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way it is. And sure, I only have 583 subscribers, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Every musical superstar in the world wants to do me a few songs. You know, that's just the way it is. Everybody knows that. And by the way, I was just thinking for those who really like that song, seems like a lot of people like it. One of the things I'm going to do for my inner circle members, give them access to special version of that song as well. I'm going to do that probably later today. So we're going to just do more and more and more stuff for the inner circle, by the way, as time goes on. So if you're thinking about joining, you might want to do so. $5 a month, support old Frankie, but then you're going to get more and more free stuff as time goes on, exclusive stuff that nobody else can get. Nobody else can get it except for the inner circle people. Phil Adams says they say jazz is the highest form of music, but not everyone gets it. Same here, Frankie. 583 know Frankie is the highest form of jazz concert. Yes, exactly. It's not about, you know, mass appeal. If you're appealing to the masses, you know, you're probably not, creating things that are exactly unique or like groundbreaking because the masses don't want unique and groundbreaking. They want crapola, mediocre crapola. You know, that's why the people who are subscribers to this channel, they're the few, they're the select, they're the unique. And then the inner circle, going one step further, uh, you know, the people in the inner circle, they're like, special for like if you think about, the military. You got the 82nd Airborne. Those are some special people. That's where I was at. But then you got like special forces or something, right? Those are like elite troopers, right? Like so the inner circle is like the special forces of the YouTube channels because those people are the really special ones. And so, you got levels. There's levels to this thing. There's levels. I don't think the Frankie from Flatbush channel is really ever going to appeal to the masses. It's really only to those special, special people, that we're going to appeal to. And then the inner circle's the special, special, special people. It's a, that's how I that's how I see it. You know, it's like, it's like in comedy. There's some people who enjoy Carrot Top, and there's some people who enjoyed when he was alive Bill Hicks. And the people who enjoyed Carrot Top, there's a lot more of Carrot Top lovers out there who enjoy a nice Carrot Top performance of comedy. But a much smaller amount of people are going to enjoy a Bill Hicks comedy performance, right? That's just the way it is. Carrot Top is for the masses. Bill Hicks is for the special ones, for the real ones. Yeah, that's the way it goes. And of course, one lives to be 200 years old and one gets cut down in his 30s. Which one do you think lasts? It's like the people who enjoy Paul McCartney's music versus John Lennon. You know, Paul McCartney is for the masses, you know, and John Lennon was for the special, the real ones. One lives to be 200 and one gets cut down in his life early. It's just the way life goes. Yeah, we got to drop that knowledge somehow, Todd. We got to drop it somehow, Todd. Yeah, this is the way it goes. You can't have um, the real deal, unique information, dispersed to everybody, millions and millions of people. That doesn't work. They're not going to get it. They don't understand it. They don't come from the right environment. They don't have the right filters. They haven't been educated properly. Yeah. Okay, Tony, I take your word for it. I got a commercial right now. So, Brendan Eccles. It'll be interesting to see if Eccles is one of the guys we sign back. I'd like to see it. It's been understandable yet frustrating for the Jet fans because we have no idea what the Muji Glenn era is going to be, other than it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, and we signed a tight end fullback so far, but we don't know how many of the guys we're going to sign back. Are we going to get Sherwood back? Are we going to get Eccles back? Are we going to get Morgan Moses back? Tyler Conklin? These are some options we have to sign back to the roster. But we don't know how Muji and Glenn feel about it. Now, one of the reasons we don't know that is because they and their staffs are doing all of the self scouting and tape watching and all the things you got to do in order to evaluate the roster in depth and decide. And then once you do that, then you make your decisions about, all right, which ones are we keeping, which ones are we letting go. But I would love to get Eccles back. I would love to have Morgan Moses back. I would love to get Sherwood back, of course. And that way you're not as needy with both the free agent classes. There's RJ Harvey. You see some of his shiftiness on display there in some of these drills. He's going to be one of these great jump cutters. RJ Harvey, who's really got that sharp jump cut to his game. He's going to be fast and quick, RJ Harvey. Um, but we'll see if Brandon Eccles comes back. Doesn't mean we couldn't. Doesn't mean he's going to necessarily be the starter. Would be nice if he could make the jump to starter, but full-time starter. He has started some games, of course. It'd be interesting to see what this GM. I mean, we'd like to start seeing some some moves, right? Because right now we don't know what they're doing, and so it's hard to make predictions about what they are going to do in the draft or free agency. We haven't seen them do anything so far, but it's also understandable. They have to, get everything sorted out, and then it takes time. They got to get their staff all completed, and I think the front office staff is completed now. I don't think there's going to be any additional hires, but we'll see. They could still hire folks even, and then those people have to be tasked with doing things, doing their jobs, and then completing all their work. And then we gotta have meetings. We gotta have so many meetings. Gotta have some meetings. So yeah, that'd be good. Be good to know what their philosophy is, as they watch the tape and see what they see with their eyes, from their lens. Running backs are now doing a bunch of drills, taking the ball and running around and jump cut and avoid this and go over here and do that. I don't know why they necessarily need this drill. I mean, you can't tell this stuff from watching the games. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? I mean, I understand the 40-yard dash because they want to give everyone kind of an equal footing. But eventually, the GPS trackers that they all have in their pads these days, probably going to make the 40-yard dash a thing of the past eventually. If they all start wearing them and you can time everybody in games and it's all equal because they all have the same kind of equipment and all kind of the same GPS in the shoulder pads and everything. I mean, what do we need a 40-yard dash for in those circumstances? Now, when everybody has different, um, you know, when everybody's playing different kinds of games and all this, and we don't have GPS trackers and all, then you need a 40-yard dash to put everybody on an equal sort of footing and then judge their speed that way, perhaps. Um, but I think this GPS is probably more reliable. I mean, miles per hour in a game is probably more reliable than a 40-yard dash when you're starting from a sprinter, stance and all that. So we'll have to see. Tony says, when do the quarterbacks throw? Well, you're the GM, Tony. Don't you know that? I don't know. I'm not the GM. You're Tony, the GM. I'm just Frankie from Flatbush. So I don't know. They throw when they throw, I guess. I mean, this is like a 9-hour thing. Like this thing is going from like 1 o'clock till 10 o'clock or something. I think. I don't know if this live stream is going to go that far. Probably not. But we've been on air over an hour now, and so far we've just gotten running back 40 times in a few drills. So I don't know. Tony, there's been no updates. Uh, I follow the news pretty closely. There's been no updates on Jordan Travis, as far as I know, unless somebody saw something that I missed. I don't think we're going to know anything about Jordan Travis until he shows up for training camp, and we'll see where he's at that point. That's what I think. That's what I think, but we'll have to see. Now they're just continuing to do these running back drills. Jump cut, avoid the thing, boom, boom, boom. Take a window off, go through these things, go over here, do this. Make sure you don't run into this thing over here. You know, we couldn't tell too much about this during game action, but during these drills, that's going to tell us something. This guy stumbled. That's not good. That's not good, Omarion. Let's look at R.J. Harvey. Oop, he's slick. He's slippery. He's slick. He's slippery. Orlando legend R.J. Harvey. That's for sure. It'll be interesting to see if Muji and Glenn make any trades. One of the things they're going to do is self scout the players on the roster and then see if they want to make any trades. I did ask on X, so I would recommend everybody follow me on X. I do just because I do interact with the media quite a bit. And the one of the things I asked Connor Hughes yesterday was, is there any chance, any way, shape, or form that the Jets could get anything at all in a trade for Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams, and he didn't think so because he said basically you'd need competition for his services, one, and there's probably not a lot of competition for his services. And then two, you have to take into consideration his desire to play. He's not going to want to just play anywhere. Who might want him? So that being the case, he said he would be very surprised if the Jets could get anything at all for Rodgers or Adams, which is what I think we all presumed anyway. But I thought it'd be a good question to ask. Could we? Is it? Can we get a seventh round pick? Can we get a pepperoni pizza? Can we get anything for Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams? But it doesn't look like it. All we're going to get is cap savings, which isn't nothing, especially when you for Devontae. Veteran combine? I don't know what that is, Paisan. Veteran combine? I don't know what that is. Once you're an NFL veteran, you're not going to be doing no underwear Olympics. I tell you that much. I don't know what you're talking about. Tony to GM Conklin, the Browns' right tackle, might be a trade option. I think isn't he a free agent or no? Jack Conklin. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of moves they make in the trade market, if any. If they got a guy like Conklin or somebody like that in a trade or a free agent signing, then obviously we don't necessarily need a guy like Will Campbell, for example, or Kelvin Banks necessarily. So you could get a depth guy in the third, fourth round instead of focusing on that in the first round, per se. And that's what makes all this draft stuff tricky. Depending on what you do in free agency is going to determine to some degree what you do in the draft because your needs will then change. And so now they're showing Bijan Robinson highlights for some reason. I do think that the Falcons are very well positioned to win that division this year. I really like. I'm high on Penix myself. We'll see how he does. I thought he did pretty good rookie year. We'll see how he does year two. Does he take a step forward or a step back? C.J. Stroud took a step back. Mac Jones took a step back and then took a step back into being a backup so far after starting out being in a Pro Bowl. Sodak Jets. Have you talked about this Shamar Stewart guy? What's there to talk about? He's a defensive lineman who's a first round pick. What do we want to talk about, Sodak? Paisan, they had it a few years ago. I I don't remember that at all. Anybody else remember what Paisan's talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. That is not in my memory banks, Paisan, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means old Frankie don't remember it. So I have no idea what you're talking about. But then again, there's a lot of things in life I have no idea what people are talking about. So it's not that unusual for old Frankie to have no idea about something. There's a lot of things in life that I completely disregard and do not care one iota about. Many things in life. But if they had a veteran combine, um, I do not remember it, Paisan, at all. I gotta say, I do not know what you're talking about. But doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the thing about the combine is it started out as a way to get consistent medicals on guys. It's really the medical portion was what this thing was all about. Then they said, well, if everybody's going to be there, maybe we should have some meetings with them. We could get to start getting to know them. And then they added that. And then they said, well, if they're going to be here, why don't we have them work out a little bit and do a 40 and all this? So the idea was let's get everybody together. That wasn't good, RJ. Stumbling over the little training blocks they got. That was not good, RJ. Um, and so let's get everybody into a pro style medical facility where we can give them all the same tests and see how they come out medically. Instead of relying on whatever's going on at whatever college they were at. And so that's important. when they need to get consistent medical information about these guys. And I think the meetings are also important for me. I think the meetings are very important. You gotta meet with the people and see how they are and how they do and how they answer the questions and are they going to fit your program, et cetera. So what you can see is less of this part of it, where it's less of these workout things. This guy's tripping all over the place. Gunshot and Judkins. I mean, that's the part of it to me that could go, especially because if we get some consistency with the GPS trackers and stuff, speed takes care of itself. This guy's tripping also, Corey. What's wrong with these guys? They don't know how to do these drills. You'd think they do these drills in their sleep. What's going on with these guys? But you know, and then some of these drills, you say, well, I mean, you see them on tape in the games. What do we need to do these drills for? I mean, you just watch the games. But the meetings, the medicals, I think that's all important. And then the GPS, if that becomes totally consistent across the board for FBS and FCS, then that takes care of the speed. And then these drills could fade out. You know, we'll see. Kodak says a number of the Jets media guys at the combine came talking about the Jets taking Shamar Stewart at 7. Well, one, I don't know what Jets media guys you're talking about. I haven't seen any of the mainstream guys talking about Shamar Stewart, but Shamar Stewart is a defensive lineman who's a first round pick, so the Jets could take him, sure. Why not? He's in the mix. And the combine is still going on, Sodak, so not sure. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Tony says Shamar Stewart only had 6 total sacks in college. We drafted a workout warrior in draft 1, 0 sacks. Yeah, but some guys have production, some guys have traits. So I don't think he's really in the bucket for a seventh round pick for number 7. There's a bucket of guys that make sense at 7, for example. Shamar Stewart, it seems like he's being talked about in the 20s, mid to late first round, it seems to me. So we'll have to see. But you're drafting a guy like that based on traits. Sometimes traits work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes guys have great production and they don't have great production in the NFL. So there's no hard and fast rule for that. But if you take a guy who doesn't have production, then you're banking on the traits and you're banking on him developing and you're banking on your coaching to develop him, get the most out of him. So we got a new regime in, so we got to see how they're going to develop guys. That'll be something to watch as well. If we do take dudes who don't have a lot of college production and maybe aren't a polished finished product just yet, how does this coaching staff, do versus the other coaching staffs that we had that weren't really that great at developing guys? The previous coaching staff was pretty good at developing defensive linemen, Bryce Huff, and got the most out of JFM and so forth and so on. Um, but obviously, we haven't been able to develop a quarterback like a lot of teams, Bears, for example, across many different coaching staffs. So that hasn't been good. But um, that's something else to keep in mind with this coaching staff. How good are they at developing players at different positions, including quarterback, which is, of course, the hardest one. Baizan says, I saw the Raiders could be looking to trade Michael Mayer. Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll look into everything. Baizan. Yeah, they're saying, let's actually look at that report. Michael Mayer and one other dude, right? Who else were they looking to trade? This was on Pro Football Rumors. I saw it earlier. Let's see. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Giants may sign Aaron Rodgers. That'd be interesting. I Becton drawing interest, of course. Here's the report. Raiders shopping tight end Michael Mayer, running back Zamir White, question mark. That's the report. Our screen, let's look at. Here's what they're talking about. Now, of course, the Raiders have Brock Bowers, but Michael Mayer's been somewhat of a disappointment. Now, I thought Mayer would be a good pro coming out of Notre Dame. While the Raiders' 2024 campaign offered more disappointments than positives, the team can rest easy knowing they have a foundational piece in rookie Brock Bowers. However, with the tight end establishing himself as one of the best players at his position, the Raiders could now look to trade some of their positional depth. According to Vic Taffer and Tash and Reed of The Athletic, so these are credible source says. These people know what they're talking about when it comes to the Raiders. Raiders have had trade discussions with teams about Michael Mayer. While the former second round pick has disappointed during his brief stint, there are still teams willing to gamble on the player's upside. Drafted as the 35th pick in the 2023 draft, there was initial hope Mayer could solidify the position. He somewhat looked the part as a rookie. 27 receptions, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was knocked down the depth chart. Mayer isn't the only former draft pick on the board. Excuse me. The Zamir White is also believed to be available. Former fourth round pick showed up as a sophomore, however, failed to establish himself. So, yeah, we could look into Michael Mayer. Yeah, then that'll be something our new pro personnel people will take a look at. You got to look at the tape, see what's going on. One of the things I'd want to know is how's he as a blocker? He should be a good blocker, but is he actually? He has the size for it. Michael Mayer. Let's take a look at Michael Mayer, see how he's graded out. At least do a cursory view. View in premium stats. Let's just look at his offense. Mm-hmm. The PFF had him graded as a 67.1 pass blocker and a 65 run blocker. That would be an improvement for us. Rookie year, he didn't do as well. But so you'd want to look at the tape then and see what's going on there in terms of these. But the initial look looks good. So if he could block and we can get him for a sixth round pick or something like that, and they're just looking for cap relief, although I don't know why they'd be looking for cap relief. So the question is, what do they really want for this guy? He was a second round pick. They have tons of cap room. They're not in a cap crunch at all. Uh, so what are they really looking to do? Are they looking to recoup draft capital? If they are, then they're going to want something close to what they used on him. And I would not trade a third or maybe even a fourth round pick on him. If they want a fifth round pick, yeah, I'd probably take a chance. I mean, you got to take a look at. You can't just go off of these. Here's what he looks like on PFF, but you can't just go on PFF. That's just a cursory look. So if you look at him on PFF, here's his career grades, and the blocking looks pretty good for this year. Only 2 penalties, 67.1, 65, improving from 51.9, 47.6. So if the tape backs this up, that hey, this guy's going to be a solid blocker for you, and they want a fifth round pick, then why not? But that's a big if. You got to go look at these 461 snaps and see if you agree with these grades that PFF gave him as a blocker. So if we're talking about someone who you think can be, a good blocker for you, and that's a tight end too, pretty much. Then that's worth a fourth round pick. But if they're looking for a third round pick or a second round pick for him, no, hell no. But I guess I guess I would, fourth round pick would be maybe you could do a fifth that turns into a fourth if he hits certain metrics, something like that. Yeah. So it's definitely something to take a look at. Definitely something to take a look at. But here's probably the story of the off season right here. Eagles have real interest in Miles Garrett. I mean, if can you imagine Miles Garrett going to the frickin' Eagles? I mean, that's craziness. Certainly wouldn't be out of character for the Eagles to take a major swing. Although it does come from Gossip Girl Diana Ducini. Gossip Girl, Dirty Diana Ducini. But of course, they'd be interested. I mean, it's not crazy. It could be this year's version of Saquon Barkley for Howie, one GM told Rushini. He's an impact ad and isn't a free agent overpay. Howie's not afraid to try stuff, and it fits where they are as a team. Yeah, but I mean, you'd be paying a lot of money for that defensive line. I mean, besides stealing the headlines, Eagles have some on-field reasons. Team is not expected to sign Josh Sweat. Graham is recovering from a season-ending well, he came back for the Super Bowl, so I'm not sure why this is like this. Further, Bryce Huff disappointed, yeah, but he's still on the roster, and you're not getting rid of Bryce Huff because of the way that contract is structured. Garrett still has 2 years remaining on his contract, worth about 20 million per, and he wants an extension. So this would be a crazy, crazy situation, as if uh, the Browns traded Miles Garrett to the Eagles. That would be really something. That would be really something. That would really be something. And now the NFL Network is talking to Shane Steichen of the Colts. So you figure if he doesn't get it turned around quick, he might get fired this year. Well, they can't swap him. I mean, Huff is going to be on their roster. There's no, I mean, unless they want to cut him, they'd be taking a huge dead cap hit to cut him. So I think Bryce Huff will be on their roster. So I don't think Bryce Huff is going to factor into anything they do with Miles Garrett. But if they swapped Sweat, Josh Sweat is an impending free agent. And so basically, if you say, well, we're going to swap Sweat, Miles Garrett, holy smoke, man, that would really be something. But it would get, I mean, looking at it from the AFC, I mean, it would get Miles Garrett out of the AFC. I mean, this is a guy who's a perennial defensive player of the year candidate. I mean, he's just total stud muffin. And we get him out of the AFC. So I guess from a certain perspective, it could be good for the Jets, I guess. Uh, as Cleveland tries to deal with their cap and all of the problems they created for themselves with that stupid contract they gave to Deshaun Watson, they just had to have him. Had to have. I mean, it's what's amazing is that that regime there that did all that stuff. They could have just kept Baker Mayfield. Remember, look what he's doing down in Tampa. Could have just stuck with Baker, and they did all this to get Deshaun Watson. They gave up tons of draft capital. They gave up all that guaranteed money, and they don't lose their jobs. Nobody's talking about let's get rid of Andrew Barry and let's get rid of Stefanski after they totally screwed that whole thing up. So, you know, some people just get a long, long leash, I guess. Other people screw up the Zach Wilson pick and they're out of here. You know, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. Faizan says, I think it's a real chance Miles goes to Philly. Oh, Faizan's a Buffalo fan. Well, there you go. Yeah, I said earlier in the offseason, I thought Brandon Bean would move heaven and earth to get Miles Garrett on their team because while Buffalo has not a great cap situation at the moment, you can always find more money in the banana stand in the NFL. And Miles Garrett on the Bills makes sense to me from a team perspective of We need an absolute stud muffin on the defensive line. The Buffalo defensive line's been good, and they had unfortunate problem with Von Miller getting injured, but and they gave him a ton of money. They thought he was going to be the guy, but then he got injured, and so that all went down the drain. So let's get Miles Garrett on the Bills because we need to maximize this time period of time that we have Josh Allen being elite. So let's put an elite player on defense. Now they'd have to figure out the cap, but you can always figure out the cap some kind of way, um, including just adjusting Allen's contract. And I'm pretty sure he'd be open to some adjustments, pushing money off into the future so that they could get Miles Garrett on their team. And if I were the GM of the Bills, that's what I'd be doing. I mean, looking at the way that the Eagles got beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, that's the way you do it. You pressure Mahomes with stud muffins on the defensive line, and go back and have 7 in coverage, and you know that's what they got to do. They got to get past the Chiefs. They got to get past the Ravens, all the people in the AFC. Eventually, the Chargers are going to get up there, probably with Herbert, and Harbaugh there. So if I were Buffalo, I'd be trying my best to try and get him and doing whatever I had to do as far as the cap is concerned to make that happen. That's the team that makes the most sense to me, actually. It's not the Eagles, it's actually the Bills. I'm not hearing a lot about that. And the Browns are in trouble. I mean, they really set themselves up. Oh, I mean, what are they going to do with that second pick? They're going to take a quarterback there, right? Probably. It's looking like right now. And then they're going to have young quarterback and Deshaun. So they're basically waiting for the Deshaun Watson contract then to end, basically, so they can get the hell out of that thing that they put themselves in, and have young fella then with their good defense that they have and all the other pieces. Nick Chubb is a free agent. Looks like we'll see if he hits the market or if they re-sign him. Just like with Trey Smith, everybody was getting all excited about Trey Smith hitting the market this year and signing with their team, the Bears, the basically every team that need an offensive lineman, and many do. All getting excited for Trey Smith, and the Chiefs said, no, nobody's getting Trey Smith. We're keeping Trey Smith because they're not stupid. Yeah, probably why. These offensive linemen are, I think people are really starting to understand the value of offensive linemen, which is probably why, if I had to guess, it's very possible that Elijah Vera Tucker gets an extension from us because I think even with the obvious injury concerns for him, I think we're going to probably extend him just because these guys are they're hard to find, and once you have them on the team, you don't want to let them go. They're just super valuable, even if there are risks. If you remember, Trey Smith had blood clots in his lungs coming into that was part of the medical report on him in the draft. That's why he slipped all the way to the 6th round. Blood clots in the lungs sounds pretty scary. But I guess Kansas City felt like, hey, we can take a chance, and he's been nothing but healthy, since he's been in the league. So uh, these guys are super valuable. They don't make it to the market. You wonder what kind of a trade that would look like. I mean, what would Buffalo have to give up to get Miles Garrett? Certainly multiple first round picks, but you're in your window now. I mean, you have to you would have to think that you have to make the Super Bowl, you know, at some point in the next, what, 3 to 4 years? I mean, how long is Josh Allen going to be elite with the style of play that he has? He's trucking people left, right, and center, but there's only so long you can do that for before it starts catching up to you. So you figure the next what 3, 4, 5 years is the window, you know, the real window for the Bills, and you know you got to maximize that. So maybe they just say, all right, we'll give you 2 1s and 2 2s, and is that enough for the Browns to say goodbye to Miles Garrett? That would be. And Garrett is seems like he's dug in pretty much. He just does not want to play for them now. I think he'd of course Buffalo would be the type of team that he'd want to go to, Philadelphia also. But, you know, certainly seems like a good fit to me. But that'd be a hell of a team, man. Miles Garrett on the defense and Josh Allen on the offense. I mean, be a hard team to beat, man. Everything else they have, of course. That would be difficult. That would be difficult. All right. Well, we're watching running backs do some drills here as we move along. Um, and I think that just about does it as far as the news is concerned. So I think we'll call it a day. Um, Thanks for joining. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate that. Otherwise, give a like to the video. And if you're feeling extra special, you can always join the inner circle by clicking the join button. And um, that will get you exclusive items that you won't get anywhere else. That's the inner circle. Clicking the join button, $5 a month gets you that. Subscribe is free. Liking the video is free. Thanks everybody for joining. We'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow. Coffee with Frankie, 10 a.m.